Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? Stop what you're doing and listen.
DOD45.
It's episode 70 of the DOD45 show, and our special guest for this episode is CARNAGE the Executioner, a rapper, MC, beatboxer, music maker, teacher, you name it. He hails from the Twin Cities, and we're very glad to have him on the show. CARNAGE is a huge Transformers fan, so on this episode I draw him a Transformers-themed piece with a dash of Tom and Jerry, the Flintstones, and a tiger. In the intro of this episode, Adrian and I recap our lovely experience at the Atmosphere Red Rock show thanks to the invite from Mr. Dibbs. And with CARNAGE, some names to come up are Terrell-Owens, Owen Wilson, Woody Harrelson, and Tiger Woods, which also leads to a conversation about how the father figures of the Jacksons, the Williams sisters, and Tiger Woods shaped the professionals they became and whether that was a good or bad thing. CARNAGE also reveals that he is in the process of branching out from the Executioner moniker and is moving into the era of Terrell-X. He also tells us that he's interested in expanding his talents with things like learning how to scratch and even playing the guitar. Mr. Dibbs appears on the episode to present a question to CARNAGE from a random old lady off the streets of Cincinnati for a much anticipated return of the Question from Dibbs segment. We have a good discussion about one of my favorites, comedian and beatboxer billed as the man of 10,000 sound effects, Mr. Michael Winslow, and we also discuss CARNAGE's experience working with Aesop Rock on the track Tough from Aesop's The Impossible Kid album. All of that and some revelations during the dish segment make this a very satisfying episode. So peel the clumps of hair from your shower drain, scrape the mold off the curtain, spray off your dog's bodaggets, and get yourself situated to enjoy this episode 70 of the DOD45 show with CARNAGE the Executioner. Peace.
DOD45.
Greetings, Earthlings. Welcome to another episode of the DOD45 show. We're happy you're joining us. Later, we'll be joined by our guest, T. Swift. How about that? Is that exciting? We just recently did the Plaza Art Fair in Kansas City, Missouri, and this guy, I think he's probably an Art by Ty collector before a DOD45 fan, but he got under an hour book from me there, and as he was leaving, he said I'm loving the show, which made you feel weird.
Made me leave. I left.
Where'd you go? You didn't want to hear it?
I don't know. Just went to the bathroom or something.
Made you escape away because that doesn't feel comfortable for you to know that people watch our show, huh? Well, hey, there's a home for sale over here by the gallery here in Hannibal, Missouri. And I bring that up because I own another home I just own another place right here behind the gallery that I've, for a long time, been wanting to turn into a recording studio and an Airbnb space. But that's becoming more and more probably a little more difficult to imagine. I still love the concept of it, but just running the gallery space and our own home is already enough. So we probably just end up renting that place out to renters. So that being said, if anybody out there is interested in buying a home for $10,000 in Hannibal, Missouri, I will give you the contact information if you intend on turning it into a recording studio / Airbnb.
That won't work right there, though, because people can't bring drums in.
You could.
The neighbors are so close.
I know, but you could soundproof it out. You really could.
I mean, you would have to dig a bunker down below.
No.
It's a pretty tiny house.
It's not that small. But I get what you're saying. When we were walking...
How about if someone wants to live in it, you give them the
information. Okay, that's true. If anyone's interested at all, but I want it to be turned into something. That's kind of the whole deal.
Like a livable home?
I guess if someone's planning to do that, yeah, that'd be cool. But the more cool people we could bring into the town, the better. Anyway, point is, there's a home for $10,000. It's gonna need a lot of work into it, but it's if you got $10,000 floating around, and you don't really need to work where you live, it's something to consider. It's probably going to be gone by then, but I'm one of the only people that know about the price for the house and the house. So, DM me if you're interested. Hey, massive, gigantic thank you to Mr. Dibbs and Laura for giving us access to the recent Atmosphere show at Red Rocks. Adrian and I attended that and had full-on backstage experience. It was our first time being at a Red Rocks show, and it was pretty incredible. If you're not aware of the show, it featured Breakbeat Lou, Grouch and Eli, Mr. Dibbs, Souls of Mischief, Danny Brown, and Atmosphere is the headliner at Red Rocks Theater in Denver, Colorado, and it was so good. And I specifically really enjoyed seeing Mr. Dibbs solo performing. I was blown away by it. I know what a genius he is because I've listened to his music and I've collaborated with him for album covers and stuff. So he'll link me music that's coming up for new albums and stuff that he's done. I already know what a genius is, but I've never seen him in person performing, and it was cool to see him on the whole thing was awesome.
Gonna win, yeah, we're taking over. Come on!
Ooh, baby, I like it raw. Yeah, baby, I like it raw. Ooh, baby, I like it raw. Yeah, baby, I like it raw. Shimmy, y'all, shimmy, yeah, shimmy, yeah. Give me the mic so I can take it over.
I hadn't seen Atmosphere perform since Vans Warped Tour 2005. And that venue is incredible. The being backstage was incredible. Everything about it's pretty awesome. Do you have any breakout memories from the Atmosphere show, Adrian, at Red Rocks?
What's a breakout memory?
Anything that sticks out, I mean.
Oh, I just felt like a mooch. I felt weird.
Yeah.
Because we weren't there in this capacity. So I just kind of felt like, I don't know. I felt a little, it was cool. It was great. I appreciate it. And it was nice to get to see Souls of Mischief wandering around and people, but I felt a little out of place. I felt like, what are those fans called?
A groupie?
Yes.
It was weird because not weird. I mean, like Laura was saying, we were guests, so we didn't need to feel that way. But it did. You were mentioning that, and I was having that feeling. We were kind of like wherever we'd be standing. Well, at least for myself, I didn't want to take up important people's space. Mm-mm. So like everywhere we stand, and there's plenty of room backstage and everywhere, but I just didn't want to like. It was. Yeah, I get what you're saying there, but I 100% appreciate it, and I thoroughly enjoyed the time there.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was incredible. But yes, one of the notes that I wrote down a few notes the night of the show while we were there because I figured we'd mention it while we were on air. That was something that I wrote down. I didn't want to take up important people's space. At one point, I was sitting next to. It was during Dibs' performance. I was sitting next to Plain Old Bill, and he does the cuts and DJ stuff for Atmosphere. So it's Slug, Ant, and Plain Old Bill. But I didn't realize I was sitting right next to him because we were kind of in this. You go up this cool tunnel from backstage to get to this little area where artists and performers and quote unquote VIP people can sit. It's a very small little area. But I didn't realize I was sitting right next to Plain Old Bill. and I was recording Dibs' performance. And when I get excited, I do, or at live shows, I do this a chihu, it's like a Samoan war cry thing. I did that a couple of times, and Plain Old Bill got really excited. He's like, "Hey, can you do that again? I want to record it and use it on a track." So I did a couple of chihus for Plain Old Bill, which was cool. I also
maybe it'll end up on the next Atmosphere album.
Well, yeah, I imagine that Plain Old Bill was talking about for one of his own projects, but that would be cool. The one thing that early on when we were at that show, I was saying we should probably be like networking or talking to people, but neither one of us are that way. And so even though I came up with that thought, I quickly shot it down because it feels so sleazy. Like we were guests. It just wasn't the right place to do that. Like to go like trying to hit people up. That's not what we do anyway. But it did seem like a good opportunity to, because anyone who was there. I did, however, after Danny Brown's performance, he was right before Atmosphere. I was going down the little corridor it's like underneath the stage, like the backstage, and I ran into the Grouch there. The Grouch from Living Legends and Grouch and Eli. He's been one of my longtime favorite MCs. So I didn't interact with him at all during the performance, but we were the only two down in the corridor, and he had, I should be wearing his hat. Oh well. But I bought a hat off of him right there, and then I hit him up because he was going to early on be on the DOD45 show when we were first starting out. Anyway, he said yes, he's totally down to be a guest on the show, so he should hopefully be if not the next episode, the following episode, as long as things work out. He's got some big stuff coming up. He does the Grouch Christmas tour show thing.
Grouch Stole Christmas.
The Grouch Stole Christmas. Yeah, so that's...
I always see that every year.
Yeah. Live? No, the posts about it.
No, not the post. Just that he's coming to Salt Lake. I'm pretty sure he almost always comes to Salt Lake.
Yeah, and he usually does it with another headliner. And just listening to Brother Ali's Travelers podcast, Brother Ali is going to be the other headliner with the Grouch. So anyway, it'll be cool to get him on. I'm hoping that doesn't fall through.
I really liked their set.
Yeah, Grouch and Eli set. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was awesome. It's really awesome to everyone knows what seeing a live show is like. It's just great when you know, because what I loved is the Grouch did the song Simple Man, which was like one of my first songs that I was introduced to him on. And anyway, the whole show was great. You know what I did was cool is in backstage at Red Rocks they have these plaques, a whole row of plaques of all the and it's names of all the people who've performed. Red Rocks has been open since 1908.
Mm-hmm.
So like the list of people who have performed at Red Rocks, just looking at the names on there, that was really cool. I was stood there after the end of the show. I stood there for about an hour just reading all of the names, and I'll show some pictures here of some of the people. But I mean, obviously all the greats have played there, but it was just cool to see all those names on there. And in this little tunnel that goes up from backstage to this little area, there's signatures all along the walls. And so, I mean, there are anyone who's anyone. This is the second time I used that, but I used it wrong. Anyway, their names are all signed with marker and stuff in that hallway. I got a little video clip of that. I'll show you that. I've been editing. You guys have already seen it because this episode's out following it, but I've been editing the 2Mex episode, and I was going through some pictures because as you saw, I was talking about my bed bug bites. I was trying to find out where I had those pictures at. But I had to go through just like hard drives and hard drives of photographs of our family. So I've seen a lot of pictures, just past pictures. And I was thinking, does life just end up being summarized as like in photographs? Like, is that what our lives become at the end of our life? Is it just summarized as all these photographs?
No.
I don't know.
I mean, if you're Zuckerberg, the only white guy in whiteface.
What do you mean?
How he does his sunscreen. Have you ever seen pictures of his sunscreen? No, that's, I think, his plan is so that when you die, all your Facebook posts and stuff, you can like walk around. So like if say we actually had grandkids, they could walk around your timeline in like a physical 3D set, almost like in the metaverse, and go to the places where you were like checked in. But so I think,
how do you feel about it? You feel good?
Oh, I don't post anything on Facebook.
I know, but wouldn't that?
I don't like the idea.
It's slightly interesting, but it's also pretty bad.
I think it's invasive.
It is probably, yeah. Well, but what? I mean, if you're putting your pictures out on Facebook.
Yeah, but it's not what you originally were doing.
Yeah,
but I guess if you continue to do it.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it.
I don't think your life is a summary of photographs.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess a lot of people don't even take photographs. I don't know. I was just looking. There was so many. We have so many photographs from all the stuff that we've done, and a lot of them are still memories.
They'll probably just get lost anyway.
Yeah,
and thrown out. A hard drive will go dead, or.
That's kind of a bummer, though, isn't it, or not? Or
if you print them, then you never know. Floods, moths.
So many, though. There was just so many. There was just like I was going through so many pictures. A lot of really awesome memories that we've built as a family.
No, you just become a headstone if you have a headstone.
Ooh, what about this as a concept?
That's
digital headstones that just loop any photographs that you submit to it.
Yeah.
No, is that too digital? Is that too new worldy?
But how does it go? Continue on?
It's just on a loop.
Time. 100 years from now, how's that technology hold
I don't know. It's solar powered.
200
headstones.
years, 300 years. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, how do any headstones last that long?
They don't. They end up deteriorating.
Yeah. All right. Let me get into the intro.
Unless you do something huge, you just disappear.
Yeah, unless you have like a legacy, you mean?
Yeah.
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 I mean, is that what you meant by huge? Yeah.
Like no one's ever, I mean, I wish they would, but no one's ever going to forget Hitler.
Right. Yeah. Unless you're like a historical figure or you made an impact. A historical.
Edgar Allan Poe probably won't be forgotten.
Impact. Maybe he will. Who knows? Mark Twain's slowly being forgotten. I don't know. Before we get into introducing our guest today, let me do a movie share. My movie share today is a movie called The Decline, and it's a movie about these people. People sign up for this survivalist training camp. Did you watch that movie with me?
No.
Do you know?
I don't think so.
They sign up for like a survivalist training camp, and so they meet out at this like some area that's like a hidden boot camp kind of area. And they're learning how to do all this survival stuff from a guy who has like a YouTube channel. And a fatal accident happens, and then humans do what they do. They turn on each other, and just shit goes haywire. It's like a standard thriller, but it does keep you on the edge of your seat. It's crazy, crazy bloody, but it's pretty good. It's not the greatest movie ever made, but I really enjoyed it. It's a movie from 2020, and it was directed by someone named Patrice Laliberté. I think that's French. It's a cast of unknowns, but they all give a really good performance. And like I said, it's bloody as hell. It is a thriller, but it is good if you like thrillers and you like feeling a little tense, which I typically don't. It's worth checking out. My song share for this episode is a song called I Promise.
Why come to grips when the handles is sharp? Candles go dark. Why open lips when you mumble your heart? Handle your art. Why even vision when riches one crimson? Isn't it time? Who's running late? You can't blame the traffic in LA. Who's sleeping in? Who's sleeping in that serpent's den? Whose dividends got you giving in? Who's reminiscing for then before they and show their bones? Promise me something.
From the 2009 album Break Up Your Makeup by a group called The Returners, and it features POS And the Returners is a group started by 2Mex, who was just a recent guest of ours. So check that song out. And let me give you a quote for today. This quote is more of a lyric, but I'm going to use lyrics as quotes for these. And it's, I can't promise you I won't let you down, but to soften the fall, I can bring you to the ground. And that is by our friend Miles Bolin. So there you go. Adrian, do you have any song shares?
No.
No song shares. All right.
I haven't been listening to anything.
Okay. Well, the song share that you shared on the 2Mex episode is really cool.
I know.
I had my foot tapping the whole
I know.
time.
It makes you, didn't I? Didn't I say something like it makes you Shakira?
Yeah. You
really
did.
Does.
You said make you Shakira.
I
your
do
hips.
have a song to share, but I have to find it.
Also on that track. So speaking of POS, this shirt I'm wearing is from being a Patreon follower on the Doom Tree. I keep the lights on. I did that during the pandemic.
This one I screenshotted. I don't even know what it is. I would say I'd never heard it before, but it's called Escalator by Reservoir.
Follow my face on a moving walkway and end this hallway like I'm already here. Off in the fear, 7 digits like I know where you stay. Took off and landed, same hour Tuesday, and I woke up Wednesday on another planet with a different language. I had nothing to say, it was water, it's clear. It was all for fear.
Yes, I do recommend this song.
Circles trying to walk in a straight line. I think it's a process. I think that it's nonsense. I think it's a
Reservoir is the work of Chicago-born bass musician, composer, and producer Will Miller. Miller is a trumpeter. Trumpeter.
Trumpeter? Not a trumper.
Not a trumper. So the guy rapping must be Sen.
Gas station, losing patience at the gas station. Out of order, bathroom, no fucking cashews. This place, bad news. This place is bad news.
television static over myself. Television static over myself. And devilish attachments. None of this is that shit. Doesn't it detach you? I'm just in action. Sit it in the bathroom. Gas station, gas station.
I was going to ask you if you could name, it's not like a quiz or anything. I'm just wondering, can you name any beatboxers, any sort of famous beatboxers or any names that come to mind? Which beatboxers?
The guy from Police Academy.
Okay.
He's like the first one that I knew. Like he was the one.
Can you name him?
Was like, yeah, his name's the guy from Police Academy.
Darnell Jones. I mean, I think that's his name in Police Academy.
And then Rozelle.
Yes, Rozelle.
And that's all I know.
It's pretty good. I got Dougie Fresh, Rozelle, obviously, Bismarcky. I think you would put him down as a beatboxer. Killikella, Reggie Watts.
Wait, he's the guy from the TV
James
show?
Corden's, yeah.
James Corden. Doesn't he do the travel show?
No, Reggie Watts was James Corden's band leader.
Is he the one in that
the Erykah Badu?
Yeah,
yes.
with that Mark guy in his underwear?
Yes, that's Reggie Watts, yeah. And then this dude Verbal.
He's not the English guy? Maybe I confuse him and the English guy.
Maybe you do because Taskmaster. Richard Ayoade?
No.
That's the guy that does the travel, man. Richard Ayoade. He's a black guy, skinny black guy, nerdy with glasses.
Is he black
Yeah.
or is he Indian?
No. You know what he is? He's actually Norwegian. No, not Norwegian. What do you
I think we
Netherlands? No,
three
he's Dutch.
people mixed up.
Well, anyway, I was thinking, Reggie Watts did the American version of Taskmaster.
Wait, there's an American Taskmaster?
Yeah, it did. It bombed. It did not do well. Taskmaster's is a British only show.
The Americans couldn't understand it.
They struggled. Yeah, and the contestants Americans are so well. We'll get that's a whole other. There's a dude, Verbal Bass, on TikTok and Instagram. He's good. I've been following him for years. I'm sure he does other stuff because he's really good. And then Buff Love, aka the human beatbox from the Fat Boys. Like for me, he's the number one. And then who you said, I don't know if he's technically a beatboxer, but he's definitely a star with his mouth. That's the man of 10,000 sound effects, they call him, Michael Winslow, from Spaceballs and Police Academy.
Wait, he was in Spaceballs
Yeah,
too?
he's the one that goes,
oh, yeah.
They go, the radar, sir, it appears to be jammed. And he's doing all that. Yeah, he's great in it. All right. Well, let's. Our guest today is Carnage the Executioner.
Considering the name I had is forgettable. If it for me to change, imagine the legend to believe I was synonymous with ill, hoping you might mention me, but what the secret spitter identity. Starting to show you it was more than just a name, didn't lust of fame, mainly in it for crushing lame. Skillful, not simple, chopped into locks, mentals, tower over totem, motor powered robot pencil.
Long time ago, 1987, his starting rap name was T Swift, long before the now T Swift was ever born. Miss Taylor Swift, probably, because I think he went by T Swift in 1987. When do you think Taylor Swift was born? Isn't she like 20 something or something?
No, I think she's got to be 30 something now.
But when are 30-year-olds born? Like if you were 30 now, when would you have been born? 33? I mean, oh yeah, 90. That's crazy. Anyway, so yeah, Carnage the Executioner, aka Terrell Woods, aka Terrell-X, also aka T Swift. He's a rapper, beatboxer. He's also a teacher. I think a teacher of beatboxing and music making. He's from the Twin Cities, so I don't know if that means he's Minneapolis or
St. Paul.
St. Paul. Minneapolis is the home of the Mall of America, right? Do you know take a guess at the square footage of the Mall of America, Adrian?
So one tile is 1 square foot.
Yeah.
So I would say
our friend Michael Cole's warehouse is 20,000 square feet.
We've been there. There was like 3 or 4 floors, plus an aquarium and amusement park. I would say 100,000, 200,000.
Okay, wait. Let me give you for our friend Michael Cole's warehouse is 20,000 square feet. So you're saying that mall would only be 5 of those?
Well, like on 1 floor.
Okay.
And there's like 3 or 4 floors.
Well, the answer is 5.6 million square feet. It's fucking massive, right?
That was such a disappointing mall. It was the stupidest mall I've ever been to.
But it's just a mall.
The Mall of America. It was supposed to have glitter floors and like soda fountains and flashy lights, all sorts of cool things. It was just like a basic mall.
Well, a basic mall with a
giant
roller coaster right in the middle of it.
Yeah, it was dumb.
Well, it is just a mall. But I guess I'm surprised what you're imagining it should have been. I don't know.
It should have been like something off of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. It should have been magical, but it was just a mall.
But it's the Mall of America. I mean, it's just a shopping center.
I know.
Massive. Not Willy Wonka's. But I get it. It was because I was quite disappointed.
If I were to design it.
Well, when we walked in and saw Zoomies, I was like, what? What is this?
Well, no, that makes sense. They need every store.
Right. But so
like the corridors should have been
design. Oh, the design was basic.
I would have done a better job.
It was like Mormon churchy vibe, and not speaking down on Mormon church vibes, but their buildings are synonymously very boring. Yeah. with the exception of their temples. All right. Okay. Well, okay. Got sidetracked there. So anyway, Carnage the Executioner is mega talent. He's done, he's got loads of collaborations and guest appearances. I think he broke onto the hip hop scene during collaborating with Idea and Abilities. He did this tribute beatbox remix of the song Star Destroyer.
Never no superstar, I feel like a planet. Never no superstar. Never no superstar, I feel like a planet. Never no superstar, I feel like a planet. Just mail me your titles now and save the public embarrassment. You never even battle. How the fuck are you arrogant? No matter why you're screaming till the night is. That's off of Idea and Abilities' 2004 self-titled album. He's got a handful of albums that you can stream online, preferably through carnageexecutioner.bandcamp.com, but there are some albums on Spotify. The album is 2007 album, Sense of Sound. Who calls us the body up and it was something? When the heat is what you want, since some sound is what you see. Who you get? The B-double-O-K-A plus the beat. Using superior tracking methods, Jimmy 2 times catching records for scratching sessions that satisfy your sexual partner backing fetish. Not the beginner, rocking the sitter, fire of rapping lessons, leaving the average breathless, but only half the effort. 2011 album, Worth the Wait. There's a track on there called Hunger. It's really awesome. The epicenter with a gift that attracts. Big sack and fat. Get up in your dinner, kick raps with knack. Dome wrecker, tome hecker, representer and the founder. Found the ominous hurl. Rip beat, respond to your girl. Prick meat, 6 feet to conquer the world. Man of the house plans come about if you want to figure. You can break the whole of Forsaken Soul. His 2012 album, Respect the Name. Check out the track Different Dope Mother on that.
You're laughing at me because I'm different, but I'm laughing at you because you're all the same. No can match this. Hype flow addict, tight show bracket, nitro blasting, psychopathic, bold and graphic. Whoa, the spasses, gross with antics of old advantage. Scrolls and magic, anecdotes and tactics. So emphatic, token.
He's got the 2015 album, The Ultimatum. 2016 album, The Minnesota Mean Movement.
I wanna be heard, but hopefully I won't have to conform just to make you notice me. Earn the respect I got since the older teens. Why Minnesota nice, Minnesota mean? No passive aggression approaching the confidence over self-degradation growing deep. Repel status quo and lead when you know the scene. To hell with Minnesota nice, Minnesota mean.
And then in 2017, he went on a plant-based food diet, and he ended up losing 150 pounds doing that. And he started a plant-based poetry movement. He's really into healthy eating, plant-based eating, and pretty sure for health reasons. And so he's got this album, this 2019 album called Ravenous. And the title track on that, Ravenous, is an awesome song.
Blatant great is the ambition of vagrant eight. Vagrant eight, make them pay when create a blaze and change your fate. Change your fate, rate a crate and angered way like I claim a stake. Ravenous. Nothing was given to me, position I dare you degrade. Here is something that I have always been prepared to explain. Much of what I've incurred was attained in its terror convey. Afraid of sharing the prey, just another American day.
That whole album was about overconsumption, which I think led to it may have just been a weight thing. I'm not quite sure. I'll ask him a little bit about that. And in 2021, he started a group called Antifo with a dude named Johnny Payne. And that's a hyper political album focused on the injustices, if you think 2021, the climate of political injustices and things going on at that time led to a lot of music being put out that was, hyper political. And that album is only available, I think, on his Bandcamp. You can't get it on Spotify, but it speaks quite intelligently about what was going on there in 2021, what's going on now, and what's gone on in the past. So check that one out.
When you're punching through nose bones and cutting through chromosomes, much up for the homophobe.
That's Black Eye Blues.
So put your punch in a bowl of poems and puncture the boring tones of Trump and his touring goals.
That's Black Eye Blues. So when you're punching Nazis, make sure you're punching properly.
He's on DJ Criminals album. The Smuggler's Candle. The track is called The Know-It-Alls.
Tragedy, sight of mere gluttons for punishment. Glad to see I am here, clutching another win. Saw rolling with criminal caught, going to talk, showing I'm all knowing, balls holding, manners dirty, caliber challenger sturdy, jammer playing your worthy, massacre after you're learning that you're in it just to lose again. Bernie Sanders, and you're jerking my chain when claiming dope, but that's stupid. Heard your record, it was like
with a rapper named Afro, who is also someone that we've been wanting to get on the DOD45 show. He did say he wanted to do it. We just haven't scheduled something there. And then he's on. He does the beatbox on Aesop Rock's track "Tough."
Yeah, let's do it like that. I pay a guy to lean over steepled fingers and convince me to pay him for his teas and tinctures. The string cheese dinner kids speak cheech wizard, but are gone like Gossamer under number 3 clippers. Free, forged in various pulp channels. Even his proms horse rides a wolf in a battle. Even his blood and body couldn't pick him out.
From the album, the 2016 album Impossible Kid. So if you've even said hello on an Aesop Rock album, I want to talk to you. That's my build up for Carnage the Executioner, and we'll be right back with him. We're gonna have a discussion with him, and I'm gonna do him a little drawing. So thanks for hanging with us, and we'll be right back with Carnage the Executioner.
You know, I'm sitting here injecting my morning coffee into my veins, and I'm just thinking, man, it'd be really dope if Art by Ty would talk to Carnage the Executioner. And guess what? It's happening. Holy moly, DOD45. Ty with Carnage the Executioner. That's my dude. Man, so many great guests on DOD45. This is AWOL1 telling you, if you are moderate with your intakes, everything will be fine. Balance is the key, my friend.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? Stop what you're doing and listen.
DOD45. This is the DOD45 show, drawing over discussions, 45 minutes with a special guest. Welcome. I'm your host and resident artist, Ty of Art by Ty, and with my co-host, Adrian Taiwali'i, we're having conversations with people who I admire and am inspired by. On this episode, I'll set a 45-minute timer, put my pen to the paper, and we'll learn about our guest through an interview-style discussion. So stay right here with us to experience some laughs and maybe even learn a thing or two. DOD45. We're back. Welcome to the DOD45 show, Carnage the Executioner, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely. For the next 45 minutes, I'm going to draw you a picture, and we're going to have a discussion. But before I start the 45-minute timer for the drawing, I do have two things I do want to ask you about. The first one is, what is I'm gonna butcher this, I'm sure, but Tout va monter.
The French album.
Yeah, what was it? What was that? What was it for? What was the thing behind that?
Okay, so what happened with it was I was signed to a French jazz label with another artist. I no longer work with this artist, so I'm not gonna say the name. But the label was NATO Records or NATO Records, and what the president of the label wanted to do was an improvisational experience between me, a bass legend. Her name was Joelle Leandre. She was a 63-year-old bass legend. So that was about 10 years ago. So if she's still alive, she's 74 now and probably still killing the bass. She's also a vocalist and a pianist who did experimental piano work. So it was meant to be 100% improvisation, and that's basically what it was.
Oh, yeah, it's cool. It's cool. When I stumbled across it, I was wondering if it was like a soundtrack to like a movie or something. And I mean, it just
sounds like it could be.
Yeah, it has really a wide open soundscapes. Like, I don't know, that's the sort of stuff I can get into.
One of the things it taught me is patience and space. And I feel like one of my collaborative tools that has allowed me to be able to collaborate with so many artists is my ability to take time and let other people shine while I'm performing with them. But that one was particularly even more of a challenge because sometimes I wanted to set a loop and let it go, but the other artist would want to go in a different direction right when I got the right loop. So I had to really I had to figure out how to take my ego out of it. Sure. I realized that it wasn't just about me being there to perform my beatbox calisthenics the way I like to do as, this improvisational beatboxer who can just, come up with stuff on the spot and keep it going and all that stuff. I had to actually be a part of a whole, and sometimes I had to just shut up. A couple times I would just be quiet and let what happened happen. And that was a really eye-opening experience for me. And I like I said before, I had experience in that type of improvisation before, but that taught me even more.
Well, it's definitely something that I'll be listening to when I draw. I like music like that when I'm doing drawing.
Okay.
So yeah, it'll work for me. You did that track with Aesop Rock on the song Tough, right?
Did beatboxing on that one, yeah. The break that happened in the middle of that last verse was what I was instructed to do. But the cool thing about what happened with that particular production was he sent me the beat ahead of time and said, here's what the beat sounds like. Don't share it with anybody because nobody's really heard it. And the only requirement I have is that you match the tempo and match the key. And it was really fun to do that because I had a really fairly constricted, I thought I was going to have a really, restricted and constricted way of producing what I needed to produce for it. But I was able to find so many tones and so many different, sound effects that were in the same key that fit the vibe of what I feel Aesop Rock displays when he raps, that it was super fun to do it. It was one of my favorite collaborations and one of my favorite productions. For a lot of reasons. One, it's a placement on an Aesop Rock record. And secondly, he paid me for it. Sure. It wasn't one of those things where it was like, I got this name that's so much bigger than yours. It's gonna be a real big privilege to have you, to have me, rap over your beat. Right. It was like he saw me as an equal.
Yeah. And those are kind of a turnoff, right? When people do that thing where like, it'll be great exposure for you.
Exposure.
Like, come on. What
I can't eat exposure, man. I can't eat it,
What I really like about it is not only is it like your beatbox on there, but it's like highlighted, like it stops for your beatbox. It's dope. It's a dope track too. So yeah.
He was really, and he was free. He was really free about how he wanted me to do it. But like I said, his two limitations were tempo and key. And I sent him, here's something that a lot of people might not know. I sent him 23 layers of sounds. Wow. There was 23 layers of sounds. There was like 4 kicks, 7 snares, all of these different, like 3 bass lines, my breathing, all of that. And everything I sent to him in the order I sent it to him, he used it. He used everything. He made everything work. He didn't take anything out. And like, he didn't take something out and be like, well, I'm going to just bring this part in here. He trusted my production.
That's cool. Yeah.
And
cool.
oh man, it was so dope to listen to it. I'm like, all he did was mix it. He didn't change anything. And he told me that too. He was like, it was so good that I didn't need to change anything. And it's probably one of my favorite beats on the whole record. You know, awesome. So it was, I really feel good about that. Shouts go out to the brother Aesop Rock, man. He's just on another level in general.
He is. He's been my number one for a long time. I'm drawing like a combination of the Transformers, the Flintstones, Tom and Jerry, and these are based off things that you had mentioned. And I was just wondering if any of those things have like a real specific, give you a specific feeling, or are they kind of just things that you popped in your mind, like Tom and Jerry?
No, it's childhood, man. It's childhood. I used to love to watch Tom and Jerry and the Flintstones in the morning before I went to school. So as an adolescent in grade school, you know, I really found comfort in watching my morning before school cartoons, and those translated into, you know, Saturday morning cartoons too, you know, because we had those. But my morning cartoons were a nice ritual for me. I would get my bowl of cereal and I would sit in front of the TV and watch whatever one of those cartoons came on. And then after school, it was all about Transformers. So I'm getting off the school bus and running as fast as I can from the bus to get home to tune into Transformers. So
I have vivid memories. Mine was Malto Meal. I got Malto Meal and then the morning cartoons before school. But it's a memory. Even in like the crazy times, if you grew up in a household that was like unstable or whatever, that memory of the morning cartoons or something is
stability.
It's so strong. Oh, that's what it is, right?
Stabilizing. Yeah.
Yeah. Because everyone I talk to that, you know, usually that morning cartoon before school, I mean, people have very comforting feelings about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When I look back, that's a good way of looking at it. You know, looking back, it was my, you know, and I had a pretty rough life, you know, so if I could be, you know, entertained by, you know, a bunch of characters laughing and doing crazy stuff and beating each other up and, you know, with all that personality, it worked very well for me. So, yeah. Yeah, that's cool. All right, let me hit you with a couple weird ones. If you were forced into a Freaky Friday situation for a month, who would you rather it be, you know, who you switch with, Terrell Owens or Owen Wilson? Probably Terrell Owens.
During when he was playing football or now retired?
I think probably after, you know, after football. You know, I was just, that's funny. I was watching a video where he was speaking about some social justice stuff just today. And I guess I didn't see that in him before. And one of the things he said was about somebody who is not so much into the social justice that they need to be into. And he kind of called him out. And I was like, okay, Terrell ain't no bad guy. He ain't a bad guy.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's good. It is nice. It is nice when, I mean, I never expect anyone to have to, but it is nice when people do speak up and speak out. I appreciate it.
Yeah, if you have a voice, it will reach a lot further than those who, you know, are talking online or in a vacuum and only the people who are exposed to them. That small number of people of us get that limited exposure. But somebody like him, if he says something and it's profound, people will actually, you know, they will actually live by it. Possibly, you know, he can probably really change somebody's, you know, outlook and. Yeah.
Stop and think.
Yeah. That mentality that people have where they're like, just shut up and do your thing. I don't understand that. Why wouldn't you want to share, especially from people who have traveled and been around and been in other like those are usually the people who are in the best position to be able to share their experience. Their opinions are based on a broader experience than what maybe a lot of people who are their fans are.
And what else is crazy about that is, you know, some of our greatest revolutionaries were entertainers. They were, though, you know, we're talking about Muhammad Ali and people like that, like he's one of the first ones that comes to mind, and look what he did, know, but in true to American racism form, you're supposed to shut up and play ball and shut up and play your sport when you're black and you're speaking on black issues. It's not the same for everybody else. They'll ask anybody else who's not black, their opinion or their take on something in the world. But if a black person is giving it, who's an entertainer, they will tell them to shut up. And it's like, yeah, because y'all don't want to hear what they have to say, and they have a wider audience and that influence that we were talking about. Yeah. So to really possibly make a dent in white supremacy. And they're not trying to have that happen, but maybe that's another podcast.
Who would you rather break bread with, Tiger Woods or Woody Harrelson?
I'm gonna just say Tiger Woods.
Okay.
I'm gonna say Tiger Woods.
Is his real name Tiger?
I'm pretty sure it is.
I think it is. Yep.
Tiger?
Yep. Yeah. I think it is. Yep.
Wow, I'm drawing a tiger right now too.
He's kind of an interesting dude, actually. He's kind of an interesting,
Is he?
I think
I don't know much.
I don't know that he's all right, let me rephrase that. What I think is going on in his head because of what he's going through in his life interests me.
Right.
So I don't know that, like, he's never said anything profound.
Sure.
That I've heard him say that I was like, oh, okay, that changed my outlook on something. But I think just because of the experiences he's had, I'm really interested in knowing what's going on in his head. And where he goes and where he's come from and how difficult it's been for him to make the name for himself that he made, and the naysayers and the advantages he took of some of his positions and different things. But I just really want to. It's interesting that you asked me about those two people, because I've never thought so much about wanting to get in his head until now. But I remember when the shit first jumped off with him, I was like, I wonder what the hell he's going through.
Wasn't it he like cheated on his wife? Is that the one?
Yeah, he had a lot of different
or what?
I think a promiscuous lifestyle.
Yeah, but his wife whooped his ass too, and I'm not abuse in any shape or form, whether it's coming from a woman or a man, is not okay.
Oh, sure. She really did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She went at him with one of his golf clubs, right? Didn't she? Yeah. She went at him. So yeah, and that's it. But she was considered a hero,
right?
But
weird behavior.
But she probably got thrown in jail then.
I'm not.
Nah, no, she didn't.
Really?
No,
I don't know.
No, he lost every endorsement he ever had because of it, and she was considered a martyr and a hero. So
I'm super intrigued by anybody that reaches a level of whatever they do at the level that he's reached his, because the amount of discipline, but also probably a lot of pain, inner, I don't know. I'm interested in people.
Didn't he have a dad that was like the Venus and Serena Williams dad?
I think he was a pretty
that was
pusher, like what do you call it? Very strict with the regimen of. Yeah, well, that's what's interesting about it. That's what got him to his level.
He created the best.
Yeah.
He created the best, just like Serena and Venus's father. And, let's go to another controversial figure of a father, Joe Jackson.
Yeah.
Look at what Michael Jackson became and how many lives he moved and how many people he changed. And, I don't know if he did it. I'm not going to say he did, that stuff. And I'm not going to say he didn't. But before that happened, look how many lives he touched in some of the things he did and some of the things he spoke out against, quietly with his softer tone. But the voice that he was able to muster up and put out there for people to aspire to be, is not something that we should just look at as, disposable because of the things he was alleged to have done.
Sure. I agree.
So his father again was a drill sergeant, and look what he produced. Look at all those kids. Look at Janet. Look at all of them. They were all icons.
It's like a catch-22 to a lot of that, I guess.
Yeah, but you know, a lot of people weren't living in those households, and we can sit back and look at it, you know, from the outside looking in. But I bet there's a few people out there who are saying, "I wish I had parents who were like theirs," because
Right.
you know, look what I could have possibly become if I had something other. I mean, if I had parents other than what I had, I probably would be something else too. You know,
Yeah.
something more. But I had the parents I have, which is why I am who I am too, and that's nothing to scoff at. But imagine, I sometimes think about, like, what if I had a Joe Jackson? What if I had a, you know, what I just had a father who was there to give a fuck, you know,
Right.
somebody who was there to give a fuck about something. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
Absolutely.
and push me
Yeah.
to give a fuck about something. So
Yeah, because that does go a long way. I have this question. I don't know how any other way to ask it, but it's not like as a negative. But what I was curious about, because you seem at the space that you're in now, just from me watching some of your interviews and stuff, there's like a level of comfort and like a little not less aggressive than probably when you were younger. So I'm prefacing my question with that. Do you feel like you may potentially be outgrowing your moniker Carnage the Executioner, or is that still or is that the basis on there still there? Ah, yeah. Oh, that's right. You're going to Terrell-X. Yeah. Is that due to that to that kind of?
I would say Carnage the Executioner was a character I created so that I could do everything in an imaginary world that I couldn't do as a real human.
Yes.
And I just kind of attached it to a rap persona. You know, all of the hurt and all of the anger and all of the, you know, the betrayal and abandonment that I endured in my life, that I felt like I endured, I was able to channel that into something other than a human and come up with this character. And if you listen to a lot of my older stuff, I denounce humanity. I'm basically saying, why would I want to be a putrid, you know, puke-worthy human? Like, I'm a beast. You know what I would say? I would always say things and rap in ways that made me into anything other than a human. I was a behemoth. I was a monster. I was a devil. I was, you know, the destroyer of puny flesh creatures. I was all of these things, and some of that personality developed from Transformers too, because you know, if you know anything about 1984 Transformers, they were the masters of sarcasm and busting on each other. You know what I'm saying? It was a whole. I'm gonna debase, you know, the opposite. You know, I'm going to debase my enemy as much as I can.
Right.
And that transferred into the hip hop persona I became. And I saw a lot of stuff in my life that kind of made me feel like this was the way to channel it, but escape it too. I could do all the things that I wasn't able to do as a human, as Carnage the Executioner. So I think Carnage the Executioner is always going to be a facet of me. It's going to be a part of me. It's going to be a side of me. But I don't have to let it be the be all, tell all, end all of who I am. And, you know, I'm not going to end my life as Carnage the Executioner. You know, Carnage the Executioner is going to play a part in the whole development that is who I am now.
He was like your Saturday morning cartoons for the older years.
I like that.
Now you're entering a different chapter of
older years.
Yeah.
And with this chapter of older years, there's a confidence, a serenity, a calmness, and a thankfulness that I'm approaching things with now that I didn't have before.
Right.
So, you know, if we're not getting better with age, what the hell are we doing?
Exactly.
You know, like we're not supposed to just get old and fall apart. We're supposed to get wiser and get stronger.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like right now at this moment, as we're having this conversation, at whatever time it is right now, I am the best me I've ever been in life right now.
Yeah. Is that ever creep into your thoughts about, you know, when you're changing over the name? Because, you know, you were discovered as Carnage the Executioner. Or
well, I was somebody before that.
Right.
I was T Swift before that.
Right.
You know, I've changed my name a few times.
Yeah.
And I think I'm not changing my name. I'm adding to my name.
Yeah. That's what
I'm adding. This is just another chapter. This is a new chapter that has been a long time in the making. I just didn't have a name or a word or a categorization for it before. This has been something that I've pondered for some time. I just didn't have the wording for it, and now I do. And it's like, oh, the wording is, you can't let the card you were dealt determine how you live for the rest of your life.
Right.
You know, just they can be a stepping stone to, you know, they can be an example, they can be a lesson, but they can't be the everything, especially if the everything is if most of the everything is negative. It just, you know, if you're not going to make it very far if that's how you conduct your life.
Continuing in the card analogy, the cards that you are dealt, it's how you play them is what makes the biggest difference. That's a
new branch, same tree.
Yep.
New branch, same, exactly. New branch, same tree, and the tree is better now. You know,
Stronger.
this tree is better, bigger, stronger, and you know, yeah. That's that. So yeah, I'm not really worried about people saying, "Oh man, it's not the same Carnage the Executioner."
Right.
If anything, I think people are going to be like, "Yo, this is the Carnage, or this is the persona we were asking for. This is what we wanted." I remember I told a friend of mine who that I was gonna add Terrell-X to my, you know, repertoire, and he said, shout out to Bump Opera, aka Mad Son from Unknown Prophets. I'm gonna just shout him out. I told him, he was one of the first persons I told that I was gonna do that, and he was like, I could almost cry right now. I've always wondered when we were gonna see the real Terrell come out in the music and come out in, because, you know, people who know me know how I get down. They know that I'm not a jerk. You know,
Right.
Of course, we've all done some jerk things, but he knows that I'm a pretty easy to get along with type of person. I'm more easygoing than the Carnage the Executioner persona allows me, or, you know, plays out to be.
Sure.
So he's like, you know, if you're gonna go by something that, you know, features your real name, we're gonna see the real you. And I was like, exactly. This is gonna be. This is it. So I think more people are going to be like, oh, this is the other part of him that's been lurking underneath the rough, hardcore exterior. You know, there's something, the interior that's going to shine on the outside now is Terrell-X. And you know, in Carnage the Executioner will always be there. But, you know, it's not the only thing. It's another branch on the same tree.
Yeah. Well, speaking of executioners, if you were sentenced to death by an executioner in medieval times, what route would you choose?
Chop my head off. Do it quick. Cut the head off.
Guillotine, right? Is that what that one's called?
Guillotine, or an axe, whatever, right. You know, a power saw now, you know, whatever's going to be the quickest, whatever's going to be the chainsaw, power saw. I don't know. Power saw would take a while. I think you could probably, I think a chainsaw would take a while too. You have to cut. All right. Now you're bringing out Carnage the Executioner now.
They still have axes.
I think the guillotine would be the way to go. I think the guillotine.
Quickest.
Yeah, and you know, that's basically who I patterned the executioner off of. It was the either the guillotine or the big axe.
Right.
You know, wielding the big axe to chop the head off.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, a quick Sophie's choice: Rozelle or Denzel?
I mean, it depends on the day.
Right.
I would say overall, probably Denzel. Shout out to Rozelle, though, you know. But in Denzel's defense, a lot of what I was able to do as a beatboxer, I, you know, built up inside of me before I heard Rozelle, you know. But I will compliment and thank Rozelle for turning beatboxing into a worldwide phenomenon when the internet hit and, beatboxing wasn't as big. He used the internet in whatever way he did it to make beatboxing into something that is so hugely respected around the world that, you can't take that from him. So, like I said, it's still overall, depends on the day, but in general, probably I would say Denzel. Denzel is an incredible actor. He has a lot of he has a few movies that are a couple of my favorites. So I can get with that.
Loopers and stuff like that, has it do you find it as an improvement or a hindrance to
improvement? It has allowed us beatboxers to become self-sufficient, independent, one person bands. I think that's one of the things that revolutionized what I did. I was able to completely reinvent myself and give myself another lifeline because of not only beatboxing but looping beatboxing.
Because you can lay down all of the sounds and then
do your raps. Yeah, because your raps are they're so is elusive the right word? You're really like a wordsmith, and you write great raps, and so it seems like if you to do them both at the same time. I know that for a while people were doing like the beatbox and rap and then the breath thing. I don't know what but you can't. It seems like it. Like
you can't fully do it.
Yeah.
You can't like
what you do with raps.
Well, yeah. What I have to say, I need to lay something, and I have enough breath control to say raps endlessly, but not while I'm beatboxing. So I think it revolutionized everything. And when I was saying, it gave me another lifeline. I mean, there were people who literally didn't know I could beatbox. All they knew me for was rapping. And then when I started beatboxing more often, people start saying, you can do that too?
Right.
And and I mean, to be honest, a couple people were like, it ain't fair. It ain't fair that you're that good at rapping and then you're gonna come and do beatboxing too. And it's like, I didn't look at it that way. The truth is, I started beatboxing first. I was a beatboxer, almost 3 years before I ever wrote a rap.
What about whistling?
Good whistler. Are you a good whistler?
I mean, I can whistle okay. But what I use whistling for, like I would use whistling for imitating scratching sounds, because Jazzy Jeff had this song back in the days. Fresh Prince and Jazzy Jeff had this song, The Magnificent Jazzy Jeff, and he was like, he says he has this part where he's like, now make the record burp, and then he made the record burp, and he's like, now make it sound like a bird. He just and he's like, now make it chirp. And he's like, and he scratched it, and I was like, that is the coolest shit ever. Like he's scratching this whistle and make it sound like a bird was chirping. And I would, for a while, use my whistling to try to imitate the DJ Jazzy Jeff scratching sound, which is part of what turned me into a turntablist without turntables.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so
I'm sure everyone asks you this, but can you scratch with the turntables?
I mean, I know the science of it, but I'm not very good at it because I haven't had much practice.
You don't need to. You have everything you need in your throat.
Now I don't need to, but it was one of the first things I wanted to do in hip hop. So eventually I'm gonna go back and learn how to do it. There's a lot of things that within the next couple years I plan to do to add to making me a more well-rounded artist to turn me into a musical genius. Maybe I should say that. Turntables, I'm gonna eventually do that. I want to learn how to play guitar, because guitar for a while was one of my favorite instruments. Drumming too. I could still, even though I'm a beatboxer, I could still learn how to play drums. And I recently bought an MPC 1 Plus. So now I have an MPC. So I'm gonna get more into the production aspect of making the beats with not just the beatboxing, but with sounds and samples with the beatboxing. So I'm already going in a direction that I feel is needed for me to continually develop my artistic and musical output.
That's awesome. I wonder if it'll be easy for you to learn these instruments, because you already
understands rhythm.
You already hear the sound so well.
I think
that's part of it. Like it's just going to be technique and fingers and other body parts.
You're probably right. I understand rhythm pretty well, and I remember there was a time in my a few years ago, actually. I'm gonna say how many years? I would say about 7 years ago. About 7 years ago, I had this slight self-conscious feeling about my artistry because I can't read music. I never learned how to read music. I never learned how to play an instrument. And a very respected guitar player I know, one of my best buds. Shout out to Michael of Orange Goodness. His group is Orange Goodness. If you ever want to interview somebody super cool, let me know and I'll connect you with him. But I asked him, I said, I'm feeling a little self-conscious about not knowing how to read music. And before I could finish my statement, he was like, you don't need to. Don't do it. He was like, you can already do what people who are classically trained in reading music can't do, and that's improvise. And I know a lot of people who are classically trained who are terrified of improvisation. Right. They're just totally terrified of it. And I think everything I've ever learned how to do was based on the art of improvisation, because I had nothing else. I had to make it up. I had to make it up from scratch because I didn't have instruments and I didn't know how to read music. So I no longer feel that way. But what I can do instead of just learning how to read music is learn how to play some instruments or do some things that are an extension of what I already know how to do musically, that I hear in my head and with my mouth. Physically being able to scratch wouldn't be a bad thing. And again, like I said, I wanted to be a DJ when I first started with this. Much respect to DJ Jazzy Jeff and DJ Qbert and DJ Scratch from EPMD, and like these guys did things with turntables and turned them into instruments, and it's just one of the coolest things ever.
It really is. I love it.
Grand Mixer DXT from Rocket, Herbie Hancock's Rocket.
Yeah.
He was the one who really made me go, oh, I want to be a DJ easily. You know?
That night, what was that? Was that the MTV Music Awards? Yeah, it was the coolest thing in the world.
Whoa, man. I was like, what? It was like, that was the equivalent of motherfucking watching Michael Jackson moonwalk for the first time. Remember did you see that video? Man, that and I was already a Michael Jackson fan, but that put me on the next level.
Moonwalk? Yeah.
Oh shit. When he was doing Billie Jean, it was like, oh, okay, so I had a Billie Jean moment when I saw DXT. Too. Or I can't remember which one came first, because Rocket is an older. Yeah, they were kind of around the same time.
It must have been. I remember that blew my head up. While we're here in this spot, speaking of DJs, we do have just this. We have the one segment we're going to do today. It's a question from Dibs, and since we're speaking of DJs,
shout out to brother Dibs, man. Mr. Dibs
has called in. He's got a question for you.
Give it up, Mr. Dibbs on the turntable.
Listen to more of this.
Whoa, Adrian and Ty. Sorry this one's coming in last minute. Carnage the Executioner, but I'm down here leaving the courthouse. It's not really any of your business, but I was here on a meat-based plant incident that I got involved in where the plant-based food was made out of meat. Carnage knows what I'm talking about, but that's neither here nor there. What I'm going to do is find somebody out here on the street, and we're going to ask some questions about Carnage and see how they do. Check this shit out. Check it out. Here we go. Ma'am.
Bye.
Ma'am.
Bye.
Do you mind if I ask you a couple questions?
Bye. No.
So there's two questions, ma'am, and if you get either of them right, you'll get $100. Show you. All right, ma'am. Question 1. Can you tell me one word that rhymes with carnage?
I don't know where your farm is.
Oh. Okay, so question 1, you're wrong on question 1, so you don't get anything. All right, question 2. Ma'am, you tell me a word that rhymes with executioner for $100.
Fuck off.
Ma'am. Are you leaving? She fucking left. All right, so there is no word that rhymes with carnage or executioner. I'll go with poo solutioner and whatever the fuck she said for number 1. So I guess the question is, Carnage, for you, do you have any words that rhyme with carnage or executioner? Or are you just winging it, free balling through life, homie? Love you. Hey, lady, come here.
I could have predicted that it would be that crazy. Something he would have gone. Shout out to Dibbs, man. One of the other best DJs out there. Cool ass dude, man. Crazy ass dude.
I imagine over time you've used words, but is there one that specifically comes to mind that rhymes with?
Man, I've written so many raps that, and one of the things, I don't like to say my name a lot in raps, right? But I would do something like, if I were to rhyme Carnage the Executioner, I would use the whole name and rhyme it as almost like a sentence. So it would be like, Carnage the Executioner, taking me out is the hardest to get solutions for. Yeah. I would say something like that. If you're trying to take me out, that's the hardest to get solutions for. So that's the first one that came to my mind. Actually, I've never used that one. I kind of like that. Yeah, but,
good.
But no, I can Carnage, artist, orange, as Eminem would say. Regardless, like, I'm a multi-syllabic rhymer, so it wouldn't just be Carnage. It would be a whole lot more in there that rhymes with the whole name. So I don't just go Carnage and garbage. Right. It'd be like Carnage the best, scars in your flesh. It would be something like that. Sure. I would more so use it with other words to draw it out in the multi-syllabic form of rhyme scheming.
Dibs has been so busy, but it was he just literally got that one in last minute. So,
I love him, man.
I'm glad.
I think just yesterday he was with Run the Jewels.
Yeah, he was just
DJing an event.
He's DJing for them or DJ?
Anytime Jamie or anytime LP's near where he's at, he'll have Dibs come
that
up
makes sense.
And do a scratch with him. So
that makes sense. Yeah. They got history. Yeah.
Yesterday. Yeah, he was their touring DJ or LP's touring DJ for a while.
Shout out to him. Shout out to them.
Are you a horror movie fan at all?
Yes, I'm horror movie fan enough. The new horror genre, the new horror movies or whatever. I'm not really up on those. You know, I grew up in the 70s and 80s, so the type of experience I have in the genre, the new stuff, I don't really have as much.
These movies, then, which is a better date movie, The Golden Child or Children of the Corn?
It depends on what you're trying to accomplish. Children of the Corn is creepy, but and if you're trying to get, you're trying to have somebody. Yeah, exactly. If you're trying to get close to a person for the first time, a little closer, you might want to get Children of the Corn. But if you want to laugh your ass off, you got The Golden Child. That was
a great movie, right?
Yeah, it was a freaking great movie, man. Yeah, it was.
Were you a fan of Michael Winslow?
Yeah.
I
met him once.
Did?
Yeah. Shout out to Soliloquists of Sound. You know who they are?
Oh, yeah. Is that how?
Yeah. I flew out there. I flew out to Florida one time to do some shows with Swanberger. And Da Vinci was telling me about his connections with Michael Winslow. And it was crazy because Swanberger was telling me that Da Vinci had worked with him. And he was like, yo, Da Vinci's working with Lauryn Hill and he's working with Michael Winslow. And I was like, oh, that's dope. And then Da Vinci eventually comes in and he's telling Da Vinci that he's telling me about his work with Michael Winslow. And he was like, yeah, it would be really cool to like have y'all meet each other. And then, Da Vinci's looking at me and he's going in his phone while he's looking at me. And he's like, yeah. And then he goes, hello, can I speak to Michael? Oh, and he calls Michael Winslow right there. And I was just like, what? So a couple days later, I did a show and Michael Winslow showed up.
Wow.
And
what do you think? What do you think? Which?
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
How do you see good spirits and everything?
Very nice guy. One of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. He was so cool, and he showed up to watch my show. And because I was performing out there, and it was crazy because when I met him, I was instantly nervous. I was like, And so for the first couple songs in my set, I think I was a little off to my, for my own standards. Sure. But as I leaned into the next couple songs that were like the second and third song, I feel like I found myself. But he was there and he stayed for part of my set. And he was there with his manager, and his manager texted me later on and said, Michael really enjoyed himself at your show, but he had to leave early because he had some dental work done earlier that day and your bass was messing with his teeth.
That's great.
I was like, well, if I'm gonna make you run out of the club, that's a good reason.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a good reason. My bass was fucking with your teeth. Word up.
And for any of our younger listeners, they might not get it, but I mean, Michael Winslow is
he's a legend. And it's funny, people compare me to him all the time and ask me if he was my inspiration. I liked him. He wasn't my inspiration, but when I saw him, I was inspired. I was like,
I wonder because I don't really know. I knew him from the movie things, but was he beatboxing or was he more just a
yes, he can do everything.
Yeah,
he can do have you seen the video where he's like doing Jimi Hendrix?
I don't.
He has
yes,
like he has the bandana on. And he has like he does the guitar solo for Led Zeppelin, Whole Lotta Love.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And he's like doing it,
brilliant.
and he's sneaking a little foot pedal on the floor, and you can't really see it. He was on some talk show. But he's literally doing his version of the guitar solo from that song, and he's just killing it. So he beatboxes, he does the sound effect stuff, he does voice stuff. He's a super talented musical guy, and he's super nice too. Yeah, I'm not mad at him at all.
He was the voice. Guess who he was the voice for, Adrian?
I don't know.
Mogwai.
Oh.
Gremlins.
Oh, the Gremlins.
Was he? Which one was he? Was he for Stripe or for Gizmo?
Yeah, Gizmo. Yeah,
he was the voice for.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, here's something else. This is everything's all these connections. I was at Crypticon, Minneapolis. the horror genre of all everything you could think of is pretty much there. And I was in a room with my this theater company that I'm a part of. A shout out to my peoples from Shadow Horse Theater, and we had a booth there. And across from me was what's his name? The guy who played
the main character.
The main character.
Yeah,
the kid.
Yeah, that's
Is it Zach Galligan?
He was sitting across from me, and I went and I talked to him, and but he was charging like $20 or $40 to take a selfie. Yeah, and I wasn't ready to do that yet because I was talking to people and stuff. But he was there, and he had a character. He had a gremlin. He had a gizmo doll there, yeah. And I was there beatboxing, and he was like, there's this part where he's like making Gizmo dance to my beatboxing or whatever. There's a video of it. I'll put that out there one day. But yeah, I didn't know Michael Winslow was part of
he did
part of Gremlins. Man, that drawing is looking dope.
Yeah, and that the 45 just ended up. So we'll do the last 15 minutes. I do the thing called the dish. So we'll really get to know you. But I do want to hit you with just these three quick Sophie's Choice ones that I had written down.
Let's go.
The one of them is, which appearance do you think was better for Michael, Police Academy or Spaceballs?
Man, they were both classic. I don't make me. Well, he had more appearances in, because of the Police Academy. I would say overall, since there was so much, he was such a huge part of Police Academy. I would have to say that was like he was. I think it's almost he almost stole the show.
I think he did.
He did for
sure. He pretty much was the reason that movie was as cool as it was. And Spaceballs was good for nostalgia. Like that was a time in my life where I used to watch it all the time because it was at the dollar theaters. It would be at the dollar.
My kids.
It was great too for that time. Yeah, but definitely Police Academy.
And then what about this one? Flintstones or Jetsons?
Flintstones.
Yeah. And what about Buff Love or Dougie Fresh?
Buff Love.
Yeah.
Buff Love. And I am a Buff Love clone. When I heard Buff Love, that's where I got my sounds from. I wanted to sound more like him.
Yeah, and you did it, and I was gonna go back that in that Aesop Rock track you did. It was a full on Buff Love kind of vibe at the beginning. In the first break of it, right? What do you call that sound when it's like the? Yeah, that's a very Buff Love, right?
No, you know what? That he sampled that into the song himself. That was actually Buff Love. That wasn't me.
Roll out, ghost the Camus on the pegs, might pedal by the police, tough with 2 F's. Fuck that shit. Look, can't tell if I'm a little withdrawn.
See, that's why Aesop Rock is the shit, because he knew that he wanted beatboxing in it when he was making the beat. And I guess he was looking around trying to find who would be the best beatboxer for the piece. And he hit a few people up. And when he contacted me, he said, your name is the one that kept coming up the most. So he already had sampled that into the beat. And then he came and got me to finish the job. So yeah, that was, yeah. I auditioned to be in the Fat Boys too. I auditioned.
Really?
It's a long story, so I'll make it really quick. There was a guy who hit me up. Shout out to Champtown guy from around here. I think he's originally from Detroit. He contacted me and said that at one time, the Fat Boys were going to have a sitcom where they were coming back as a group and they were auditioning to find a new Buff Love human beatboxer. And he was like, would you like to send a video? So I went in the studio with him and I did a looping thing. It was like 2009. If you look out there, it's out there. It's floating around. A lot of people say they found me beatboxing off of that video.
Awesome.
But yeah, so I took a stab at it and I was like, why not? And I never heard anything back about whether or not I was chosen. But
they never produced the show, right?
They never produced the show. I think, and not Kurokski, Prince Marky D passed away, you know, so there's only one of them left. But funny stories.
What was the show when they were their movie
Disorderlies?
Disorderlies, yeah.
Yep, Disorderlies. Yeah, so yeah, a lot of Fat Boys history, and I wanted to be Buff Love, and I was literally going to be the next Buff Love if they would have chosen, if that would have happened. But when I first heard Buff Love, I heard Fat Boys before I heard any of that other stuff, anything Dougie Fresh did anyway, and I was immediately drawn in. So that's my musical. That was my introduction to actually doing something musical. Right. The first time music ever came out of my body or was produced by me was beatboxing, and he's the reason. So
that's awesome.
Yep.
I was going to ask you a brief. I know you speak about it a lot, but I know that you had lost a ton of weight from it. Was it initially a health reason that you went plant-based, or was it just like you just needed to make some sort of major change?
I think the main reason was, if you can call this a health reason, I needed to find a way to keep my weight down. I have what I call the gift and the curse when it comes to weight. I can lose weight fairly easily, but I also gain it easily. Mm-hmm. So if I'm not paying attention to how I'm eating, I will put on weight. But if I change the way I eat, I will drop it. And there was a time where I think at my biggest weight, I was around 340 pounds. And I cut down my portions drastically and lost 100 pounds over about 3 years, over about a 3-year period. But then I slowly gained it back. And when it came to trying to figure out a way to keep my weight down or keep the extra weight off, the only thing I had never tried was cutting out animal products.
Right.
So I tried it and it worked. In the first 3 months of being plant-based, I lost 40 pounds. And I was like, oh yeah, there's no reason to go back to eating animal products. And then the more research I did and the more I got into the whole lifestyle of it, I realized that it's more sustainable for the planet. And I love animals, man. I love animals. Yeah. I don't need to eat it. I don't need to eat an animal. I love animals too much to eat them. And like the RZA said from Wu-Tang Clan, he said, I realized that something doesn't have to die in order for me to live, or something like that. I'm butchering it, but it totally made sense to me. I was like, oh, that's a good way of summing it up. So yes, another thing doesn't need to die in order for me to live, especially an animal, because animals are cool. And the planet is, we only have one of them.
The only one we got.
It's the only one we have, and we only have one body. This is the only body I'm given. So what am I going to do? I probably should take care of it.
Yeah. Some people might be listening going like, well, how is not eating meat saving the planet? But when you think about all of the deforestation that happens just in order to raise some cows.
Yeah.
For people where cows don't even belong.
Just to feed it to an animal who is not going to give you the best product because they're stressed out. They're dead. You're literally eating decayed flesh. And if that's what you want to do, then go ahead. I'm not going to sit and criticize you. But if people want to know the benefits, if people want to argue with me about why I'm on a high horse, it's like I never said I was on a high horse by choosing to eat differently from myself. I would say that has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with me. And if you want to know if it really works, check my weight out from back then to now.
Proof is in the pudding.
155 pounds later. So
that's impressive. Real quick, at what point, like, because that that's a lot of weight. Were you constantly eyeing the weight? Like, at what point were you going like, oh my God, I've reached this, or I've reached this, or?
I was eyeing it peripherally. Like, I was aware of it, but I wasn't consumed by it, but I was aware of it. And that's usually how I am able to make the easiest changes in my life that are super extreme, is to keep them in the back of my head all the time as something I can't forget to take a look at.
Right.
I'm the person who's always like, I know I need to be doing this and I might not be ready to do it yet, but I remember for as long as I possibly can until I start doing it that I need to do it. And then it's a lot easier for me to slide into the normal everyday practice of actually doing it. People say, oh, you're so disciplined and stuff. I think my mind over matter comes from me keeping it in my mind because it matters. First, it's there. So yes, I was eyeing it. I wasn't necessarily doing everything I needed to do to prevent the weight from accumulating, but I knew that it was there. And I would put on a certain shirt or try to put on something. I'm like, this don't look right on me.
Yeah.
This is not, I'm not feeling this. I know what I need to do. Eventually I'm gonna get there.
Yeah.
And when I got to the point and I made the decision, I just went cold turkey and I never looked back. So I think that's part of my discipline.
How long's that been?
I think I went in 2017.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
2017. Yep. So, and my discipline again comes from me knowing in my mind for a period of time that it was something I needed to eventually focus on. If I wouldn't have kept it in my mind, it wouldn't have mattered at all. And I probably never would have gotten around to it.
Well, all right. We're going to hit you with the dish. It's our segment called The Dish. We're going to serve you the dish. These are the first, the worsts, and your favorites. All right. What was your first concert you ever went to?
I would say the first memorable concert I went to was Public Enemy. I saw Public Enemy, and I want to say that might have been 1989. I think it was 1989. I saw Public Enemy, and it was kind of a funny experience the first time because Flavor Flav wasn't there.
Oh, what?
Yeah, he wasn't there. But later on, I made up for it because I saw them, and I actually met Chuck D, who is my favorite rapper. But yes, Public Enemy was my first concert.
Who was your first celebrity crush?
Thelma from Good Times.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was her.
Thelma too. I was thinking
it was her. It was her. And then later on, Penny, aka Janet Jackson, was on the show, but it was Thelma.
Yeah, she's cute.
What was your first proper job?
I bagged and carried groceries at a grocery store called Country Club Markets.
Did you enjoy that?
I did.
Yeah.
I got really good tips, and I kind of stayed in shape.
I
kind of stayed in shape at that time. It was my
common?
high school. Not anymore. Not anymore.
Right. But that used to be a thing, right? Tipping your bag. And then now we have to bag our own groceries.
But you're talking about you helped them to the car.
Yep. I would bag the groceries in the store and then walk them to the car for them. We had a grocery cart that was kind of at an angle. It was almost like a dolly, but you could put a bunch of bags in it, and we'd wheel it out to people's cars. And I was very courteous and I was nice to people, and I used to get some good ass tips.
Yeah. Were you a teenager at the time doing that?
I was 15.
Yeah, that's a good teenager job. What about the first time you cried watching a movie?
Out of fear, it was Salem's Lot.
Oh,
that was a scary ass movie when we were young.
Yeah.
That shit was scary. So I think that was probably the first time I cried in a movie was out of fear. I can't recall the next time I cried out of sadness. Yeah. Maybe it might have been Antoine Fisher. That was a pretty sad movie.
Yeah,
that was a heavy movie, man. And a lot of the stuff that he went through, I saw that in myself too. So that was heavy. Glory was sad too. Good movie. Good movie.
Yeah. When they're whipping him, I just bawl in my eyes.
Oh yeah, that was bad.
Yeah, that was heavy. I was a teenager when that came out, and we watched that in my like 8th grade or 9th grade history class.
Me too. Yep. That was heavy.
Yeah. Into the worsts. Who's the worst late night host of all time?
I guess Wendy Williams wouldn't count as late night, would she?
Oh, well, we'll take it. Yeah, I guess I'm just thinking of like a host, like a... Yeah.
I guess I didn't really watch a lot of those religiously. Right. I mean, some people would say Arsenio Hall, but he had a good show, actually.
He did have a good show.
Yeah, he had a really good show.
He changed
but
the whole
he did.
atmosphere of that.
He brought
did.
people, the audience, into the show.
He
You know,
turned it
like
into
Yeah,
a thing.
and he had he had the people. He had who was hip on the show. But you know, if Wendy Williams counts, I think she's obnoxious. I'm not really feel. I don't really feel her. I think she's too much.
What's the worst word?
I'll say one of the worst words that people butcher. I mean, it's a good word, but they butcher it, and it bothers me. The word wash. When people say wash, oh my God, it's so bad. So the word itself isn't bad, but it's what people butcher it to. Damn it, it ain't wash. There's no R in wash. No.
Sometimes it's kind of endearing when you hear some of the older people doing like a wash, because Adrian's her grandparents always said wash.
I haven't heard it forever.
Nah, that's
People
bad.
still do it.
My question is, when they write it, are they going to put an R in it? Yeah, I think. And a lot of people's funny. People hate the word moist.
Yeah, I'm not bothered by it.
I'm not really bothered by it. I'm more bothered by the word that people say wrong. That is not that way to say the word. In
I think the moist thing is more what it implies to is what bothers people more than what it is.
I think implying dry is worse than moist.
I would agree with you. And if a name was a word, I would say my legal first name is the worst name. My legal first name is Maynard.
Oh.
But
I hate.
I pronounce Maynard or Maynard.
Well, it depends on who you ask.
Right.
My mom, when she named me that, she said it's Maynard because I was named after my father, who his first name was Marion, and he changed it to Maynard. I'm like, why did you change it to something worse? Why did you just move the fuck out of the M's, and just go somewhere else? So she would, like, when I went to school, of course, I got made the fuck fun of all the time.
Yeah.
People bust me so bad all the time. And they would all butcher it and say Maynard. And then I would come home and be sad that they called me Maynard in school. And my mom would be like, Maynard is a white boy's name. It's Maynard. I'm like, dude, they both ugly as fuck. What are you talking about? I'm not a white boy, but but whether it's a white boy pronouncing or enunciation of the word or the black version, it sucks. So if a name was a word, then Maynard or Maynard is the worst.
Well, pardon my ignorance. So is that really like? So is Maynard more of the black way, that like a black pronunciation of the name?
I've heard
that just what you learned when you were growing up.
My mom was just ghetto as fuck. Whatever. So I think when my dad named himself that, he said it was Maynard. And she was like, well, that's what it is. So that's what we're going to call you. But I've heard Maynard, and Maynard, and they all suck.
Yeah, the only Maynard I know is from Tool. And like the only
and he's cool, but I'm not doing it. So and I'm also going to change my name to Terrell-X Xavion. I'm legally changing my name. So Maynard Terrell Woods is my birth name, and Terrell is my middle name. It's the name that they've always called me. It's the name that I've always gone by, and it's the only name that's not somebody else's. Yeah. So I'm getting rid of Maynard or Menard or whatever the hell that whack shit is, and Woods is my mom's last name, and I'm gonna get rid of that too, and I'm gonna be Terrell-X or Terrell Xavion.
What's Denzel's worst movie, if there is such a thing?
There was one that I didn't care much for when I look back at it, and it was probably Ricochet.
Oh, is that the one with Ice-T? Or am I thinking of something
Ice-T was he did the soundtrack for it.
Oh, he did. That's right.
Yeah. It was with what's his name? The guy who played in Harry and the Hendersons.
Oh, the big dopey white guy.
Yeah.
That guy.
He's got Oscars. Him. That dude. I've never liked him.
Isn't he a comedian?
No, he's not a comedian. But his name is
something with
Lithgow. John Lithgow.
Yeah, I think that when I look back at Denzel's body of work, that was probably one of the worst ones.
Sure.
It was all right, but it wasn't his best.
Who's the worst superhero?
I would say when I look back at it, the Wonder Twins. They were iconic because of the twins, and they had that Wonder Twin powers activate. Like they had a
like
moment that was kind of cool, but then the cartoon, the situations they put them in were pretty bad.
Final worst question, then we'll jump to your favorites, and then we'll let you get out of here. What's the worst sound?
Nails on the chalkboard.
Oh yeah,
it's a really bad sound.
Just the thought of the nail.
Just the thought of it. Just the thought of it. Just the thought of it is just like, and I know that's probably a lot of people's favorite worst, but it really as bad as it's made out to be.
Yeah. What about your favorite professional wrestler?
I think back in the days, Junkyard Dog was dope.
Oh, I tell everyone that was my number one.
Junkyard Dog was dope. Yeah, he was dope. Yeah. Everybody really liked Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
You know, and I thought kind of, you know, he was cool, but then later on he turned out to be a fucking douchebag, right?
Yeah, yeah. Favorite A-Team character?
I mean, Mr. T. Shit. Got a T in my name. Yeah. Did you know I was writing a rhyme and I wanted to reference the A-Team, and do you know what the BA stands for? No. Bosco Baracus.
Oh. Yeah, awesome.
And it was crazy, and I learned it because I wanted to rhyme Baracus in a verse, and I was like, I want to see, and I was doing this crazy scheme, and I wanted to see what the BA stood for, and it rhymed. So it was like enrolled in practice Bosco Baracus. Like I said, yeah, and I was like, oh, this is the coolest. It was the coolest, you know, what do you call it? Coolest discovery ever. You know, that it actually rhymed, but it's Bosco A. Baracus.
Yeah, he was so fresh.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, that was pretty iconic.
It's a super iconic. I
never watched that, and I know that. I think it was just a little too young.
Yeah,
for those.
Yeah, it's a very boy-y kind of show.
Yeah, my brothers.
What was better was Knight Rider.
Oh, I loved Knight Rider.
Yep, Knight Rider.
But Fall Guy was my number one show.
Fall Guy was dope too.
I loved that one.
And when I was young, I didn't realize, you know, the racism behind it. But I loved the Dukes of Hazzard too.
Yeah,
I love the Dukes of Hazzard. But the General Lee, I mean, geez, come on, man.
I think a lot of people just didn't know that, right?
No, we didn't know.
From down, yeah.
We didn't know.
We didn't know.
Anyway, but don't they have like the stars and bars on the top of their car too?
Yes, General Lee does stars and bars.
It was a great show for kids, for us, you know, getting our little you know, superheroes without powers fix.
Yeah.
You know, and the General Lee was a dope ass car. It was really cool. It looked cool. The doors didn't open. You know, it's just like a cool ass thing. But yeah,
cars were such a thing then.
Cars were everything. I mean, that's the gist of every one of those shows. Knight Rider's a car. Fall Guy, his truck was the dopest.
Knight Rider's the
A-Team, their van was the fucking coolest thing ever. Scooby Doo, their van, like it was all cars back then.
And Transformers is their vehicles.
Transformers.
The vehicles. You know what I'm saying? That's my favorite. So yeah, there you go.
I think the Flintstones had the best car.
Oh yeah. You have to propel it with your legs first, but once you get it going, it don't stop.
Or this car that went. That was the Jetsons car.
Yeah. That's the sound.
Yeah.
There it is. We need Michael Winslow to do that.
I know that's a total Michael Winslow sound right there.
Oh, he could probably do every cartoon sound there is.
Okay, your favorite comedian?
It would be a three-way or four-way. I gotta go there. Bernie Mac.
Nice.
Carlin. Definitely George Carlin. Eddie Murphy. I don't care what anybody says. Richard Pryor is damn funny, man.
Those four right there that you mentioned, that's a strong four right there.
Yeah.
And George Carlin
stuff.
The things he was saying.
George Carlin, man, he was so.
Yeah, it's also pertinent to what is happening today. He was so ahead of everything.
Yeah, he was gone too soon, man. Too soon. I would love to see what he would have to say about what's going on now.
Yeah, well, you can almost go back to what he's.
Well, no, kid. Yeah, exactly. He was saying he was talking about what's going on now before it happened. So there
wild.
you go. Yeah, thanks for the correction on that.
I think I was reading something from 100 or 200. I don't know how many years ago. And I was like, nothing has changed. We've had the exact same problems with different faces, and nothing has changed in all of this time. So
you are right.
His jokes are still pertinent because nothing has changed.
Yeah, that's true.
You're so right.
We have made some progress in areas,
right?
But really, on the grand scale of things, everything's the same.
It's a human condition.
It's worse.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, if it's the same, it's worse.
Right.
You know, you look at it, if things haven't gotten better, then they're worse. If it's the same, you know.
What about your favorite Denzel movie?
I liked Antoine Fisher a lot. Glory, I liked a lot. I liked Training Day a lot. I liked Man on Fire a lot.
Yeah, man.
And you know, another underrated one that I thought was just kind of the way the story went down was John Q. Wasn't that his movie?
Oh, yes.
It's a good movie.
That's the one in the hospital. He goes into the hospital.
Yeah,
right?
I like that movie. Yep.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I like that movie.
I love, and I've said it before about the Book of Eli.
Oh, that is a good movie.
I love that one.
Yep. What about your favorite rap duo?
And they both have to rap. Does Public Enemy count? Because of Flavor Flav and Chuck D?
I guess that would count. But
if they don't count, if it's not them, just because this is the first one that comes up in my head, overall probably EPMD.
Yeah.
EPMD. Oh, DOS Effects.
Oh.
DOS Effects at their apex were pretty. And then can you take groups two guys who weren't a duo who became a duo, and we're talking about Redman and Method Man?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that's a solid duo. Yeah. I would say that they were a duo because they did so much at that era when they were putting out their music together. Like,
yeah,
that's iconic music at that time.
They both stepped each other's games up.
They really did. They complemented each other really well.
Yep, I think Redman stepped Method Man's lyric game up, and Method Man stepped up Redman's live performance game.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they kind of leveled each other up. I like that.
Your favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movie?
Commando.
So great.
Yeah.
Some steam in it.
Yes. Such a messed up movie, but yeah.
It's so great.
Green Beret's gonna kick your ass. I eat green berets for breakfast. It's a classic, man. It's a classic.
It really is. All right, and your favorite cereal?
Captain Crunch.
Oh, perfect.
Which flavor?
Maybe the Crunch Berries.
That's a good one. All right, what album or project would you tell people who haven't heard your music before? What album of yours or project would you want them to start with that maybe entice them to want to look more into your art, to your body of music?
I'm not going to start with my first one because that's what most people would say. Start here from the beginning and go up. Nah, my last solo album I put out, Ravenous.
A good place for someone to start, and then
it's a good record.
Like that, they're going to end up appreciating anything else.
It's the launch. Yeah, it's the launch pad for everything that I'm going to be doing from here.
Yeah,
pretty much.
What can we expect from you in the near future, and what's the best way you want people to stay in touch with that?
Holler at me on @CARNAGE THE EXECUTIONER on Instagram. I like Instagram a lot. The next project I am going to be rolling out is CARNAGE THE EXECUTIONER presents Transformation to Terrell-X.
Nice.
That's the next project, and that's the shirt I'm wearing here. For the people who haven't, it isn't out yet, but so y'all can see it. When you start seeing that logo, you know it's going down.
And that's going to come as merch. Yeah,
that's going to come as merch also. But that project, and it's the exploration of finding a way to forge my own identity rather than letting somebody else, like my troubled childhood and my parents who never really did for me what parents should do for a kid, told me my life should be. They named me, but I don't have to be who they said I am.
Right.
And that's what the transformation is about.
And ideally, do you prefer people to get your music from your Bandcamp, or is there
Bandcamp?
Bandcamp. Yeah.
Yep,
We're always pushing Bandcamp for artists because we'd rather people help put money to keep you making the music that you make.
And I got a lot of good merch on there too. It's not just It's not just the music. My merch game is pretty cool. I got some pretty nice shirts, and if you want some rare items that you probably can't find hardly anywhere that aren't on my website, that I just make a few of, hit me up in the DMs and I'll show you how to get like that other rare Carnage merchandise.
Yeah. Awesome.
Ask people about Carnage's merch game. They know what's up.
Yeah, that's great. And I love merch, so I'll be hitting you up and I'll be on there at some point. What do you have any final words for the people before we let you get out of here?
Always strive to be the best version of yourself each day. Today you should be better than you were yesterday. Tomorrow you should be better than you are today.
Fantastic way to end the episode. Carnage, it was a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
It was a lot of fun, and I had a really good time.
Me too, man.
Through your body of work to look up what we could have a discussion about, and you were a great discussion for us.
On your way out, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Carnage album?
I really thoroughly enjoy the Ravenous album. I like of the albums, it feels like the one that had, I know they all have a direction, but that album, I know it was said that it was about overconsumption, but you really feel it. And I'm someone who suffers from overconsumption, no matter what it is. I overconsume, even with merch, vinyl, everything. And you really feel it from that album. And I also like where your raps are in that one. There seems like there's a growth there. But I like to go back even early stuff. And what's the 2011 album?
Worth the Wait.
Worth the Wait. Yeah.
So it was heavy.
I pick Ravenous just because it has like an really overall theme to it that I stuck with. So
I appreciate that, man. It's my favorite too so far. It's
a good one, and I'm glad that you said that that's the one people should start with, because I agree with you. If they like that one, they're gonna like everything else. So, and I don't know how they wouldn't like it.
Yeah, it's all right. Some of my stuff is all right. But.
I will like that. I do like that. I hadn't heard it, and I will be buying it on Bandcamp. But the one that you did in 2021, the super political one,
Antifo.
Yeah, that's a cool album, man.
You like that? Did you like it?
I like the verses in. I like what you're talking about in there. It's very heartfelt. I like it.
I like that. That album is really good too. Be on the lookout for Volume 2.0. It's
awesome.
Coming. Yeah, the new one is like the other one, but a little heavier.
Oh man!
So I think you're gonna like it. You're gonna like it even more exploration and more of what you like about that one. Longer. It's gonna be longer too. More meat on it. So yeah, let's go.
Fantastic. All right, man. It was beautiful having you on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you, both of you, so much. Wow, this was one of my most enjoyed interviews I've done.
Well, I
really enjoyed it. Both of y'all vibes are great, and I really appreciate
time
them.
with us. So thank you so much.
They should.
All right.
Thank y'all.
All right. Have a great rest of your day.
Peace. You too.
Peace.
Bye, y'all.
Executioner, Lex Luthor, I've been truth and sex. Lucifer's back in with 10 Jupiters. Sand dunes have erupted, they dance luminous. Sun Tzu gets hands moving on up, who could abandon losing ones? Tomb of the risen sun, move with Judas.
I do have to say, even though I said it hasn't changed, but I would not want to go back to 100 years ago. Or 200 years ago.
So, why?
Hey, there is change, but there
people want
also is. I'm just saying.
You're kind of going off the top of when you said,
I can freely wear pants.
Sure. And you also stated
and I can have a job.
You had stated that we have made improvements in
I always get worried about what I say.
You do it immediately too.
You ready? Control and do.
Okay.
But there was something that I read that I was like, oh man, this is the same complaints we've had today.
Yeah. No, yeah, but you are right. There has been leaps and bounds in as far as improvements, but yes, there's it does seem like a cycle of bullshit.
Yeah.
We all of a sudden get this going and then it goes away and then it comes right back. Well, that was great. It was awesome to chat with him.
1 step forward, 2 steps back.
That's right. It's true. Well, Dibs' question came in early just like an hour before. I'm so glad he sent it in too, because I started to listen to it and I was like, oh, this is going to be fun. So thanks, Mr. Dibs, for sending that in, because that was fun. And I even messaged him back. I said, I have been missing these. He's just been really busy to get them in. So, hey, check it out. The Under an Hour books are available. We're probably now we're in mid-October now. So the Art by Ty Under an Hour books are still available. I'm going to keep them available for a little while. They're the first batch, the first print that came out of them, they're almost gone. But I will reorder more if
are we past the 20th of October?
No, not yet. I don't think so. So yeah, the 20th of October is the Old Blue Gallery. That's the gallery that Adrian and I own in Hannibal, Missouri. The show is called Haunted. It's a group show, and our featured guest artist. We have a featured guest artist and then the works from a whole bunch of other artists. But our featured guest is Molly Chenard, and she's got really cool work. All the artwork that's going to be at the show is really cool. So if you're
themed, the show is called Haunted.
Yeah, the theme is Haunted. So if you're anywhere around the area, make some time to come out to Hannibal for that weekend. It's the opening party is Friday night, October 20th. It's a real fun show. We're also in the midst of Ink Tiber. I said I'm not going to do them anymore, which I'm not. But as you've seen, probably if you follow my social medias, I've been doing drawings, daily drawings for the Ink Tiber to push you to buy books. The Ink Tiber book has every one of my drawings from Ink Tiber, which are daily drawings I do in the month of October. These drawings that I'm doing in this Ink Tiber with quotations, air quotes, are drawings for a show called Intrinsic that I'm doing in Chicago, Illinois. It's a solo show at the gallery, Jackson Young Gallery. It's a gallery show that opens in April, and I haven't told Adrian this, but my plan is I'm going to be selling the books you've already seen if you're following my social medias, but I'm selling the Ink Tiber books, and by buying an Ink Tiber book in the month of October, you will your name will be placed in an opportunity to get possibly a 2-night stay in Chicago to go to the opening night of the Intrinsic show, my solo show at the gallery in Jackson Young. So I'll be mentioning more about that. You've probably already heard. And that's that. Remember to stay the hell away from our Twitter account, DOD45. But do check us out on Instagram at DOD45W, Art by Ty account on Instagram at Art by Ty, TAI, and we're also on Facebook. We do use that. So Art by Ty on Facebook is a good place to see some stuff if you don't do Instagram. And youtube.com, Art by Ty. That's where you should probably be watching episodes, or on Spotify. So thanks for joining us. Thanks, Carnage the Executioner. And Adrian, you got any final words? Nope. Okay, we're out of here for now. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. From all of us here, I'd like to wish you happy drawing, happy conversing, and thanks for conspiring us. We out. Peace.
DOD45.
Thank you for joining in on yet another episode of the DOD45 show. Please hit the subscribe or follow button so that you never miss an episode. You can even go one step further by leaving us a review on the YouTube stream or on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or wherever it is that you stream our show from. You can find me at Art by Ty on all the socials or at artbyty.com. And if you'd like to follow the DOD45 show on social media, we're at DOD45W on Instagram, or you can go over to our website at DOD45.com, where you can shoot us an email, join our mailing list, and watch all of our past episodes. Consider joining us for a live chat on the YouTube premieres of episodes every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. Peace.